Hello, Mike from Outside Xbox here with our review of Alien Isolation, along with a load of tasty Xbox One gameplay. So, I've finally played the full version of Alien Isolation, having banged on about it on video for the past year. What's the final verdict from a self-confessed Alien superfan? Well, here are 5 things I love about the game, and one that I really hate. The setting for the game, a soon-to-be decommissioned outpost called Sevastopol Station, is absolutely stunning. It really deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Rapture from the original Bioshock, with the same sense that this was once a place people lived and worked before everything went to hell. It also really sells the retro future style that is necessary in a sequel to a 70s sci-fi film. These could be sets ripped straight out of the movie, and there isn't a rivet out of place. It's phenomenally impressive stuff. Plus, like Rapture's panoramic windows, it gives you those occasional views outside, in this case into deep space with a huge gas giant as a backdrop, in order to remind you just how trapped you really are.
What the hell happened here?
You're still looking, aren't you?
The cast of characters is exactly the kind of ragtag bunch of spaces you'd expect in an Alien game. Sevastopol is surprisingly populated considering, and you'll need to rely on a handful of voices over the radio to help you get the job done. Sounds weird, but just having a few British accents in the mix, like your colleague Samuel's and station worker Ricardo, anchors this perfectly in the Alien universe. Wouldn't get too attached to any of these guys, mind, just in case something were to happen to them. Then there's Amanda Ripley herself, who is a total badass. Resourceful, competent, and able to remain relatively cool when everyone else is losing their heads, she's a worthy successor to Ellen Ripley from the films, which is just about the best we could have hoped for.
This is your lucky day.
Well, I say love. Love to hate is probably closer to the truth. We've known that the Alien was terrifying since the very first time we tried the game back in December of 2013.
Fuck! Jesus!
We knew it learned and became more aggressive and hostile as you provoked it. What we didn't know was whether it would remain scary over the course of the whole game. While the initial horror of how the creature looks wears off after the first few encounters because you have to stare at it to read its behaviour, it's never not scary when it shows up. To still be gripping the pad with sweaty palms 15 hours in when it clatters out of the roof space suggests Creative Assembly have nailed it. It can't be understated just how much the audio in Alien Isolation contributes to the experience. The sound of the alien thumping and scratching around in the vents above you, the telltale hisses and screeches when it spotted you, and the creepy public service announcements from the Working Joe androids are all particular highlights.
Why not ask me about Sevastopol safety protocols?
The whole thing's tied together with a dynamic musical score that's expertly deployed. It uses themes and motifs from the original movie, but it's completely reactive to what's going on in the game world. That moment when an android locks eyes on you is all the more petrifying when there's a full orchestra ratcheting up the tension.
To sleep merchants do dream.
Habitation tower contains all the amenities and comforts you would expect at home.
It would probably have been much more straightforward just to make this a first-person shooter in a beautiful setting like Bioshock, and it might even have worked. Instead though, Alien Isolation opts for this hiding, crafting and distracting mechanic, which in many ways is more compelling because it feels so fresh. Even the save point system is clever. There's a real sense of risk-reward as you decide whether to lunge for the save kiosk, which boots painfully slowly when there are still hostiles nearby. We've yet to completely scupper our game through a poor decision to save, but there have definitely been a few hairy moments. Alright, before you freak out about spoilers, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. In fact, I don't even mean multiple endings in the traditional sense, where you get to choose whether to be a good guy or a bad guy. It might have those, I wouldn't know, I haven't actually completed it. What I mean is, over the course of the game, Alien Isolation ends about 5 times, and then carries on going. It's partly the fact that the game's relatively long. It's also partly the fact that the films set the precedent for the alien coming back for a last gasp attack. Whatever the reason though, Alien Isolation dangles escape in front of you so many times, then snatches it away and makes you backtrack and switch on 17 more generators while an increasingly pissed off alien stomps around after you. And the thing is, we don't really hate the endings themselves. They're all spectacular, climactic and beautifully handled. They're some of the best, most memorable moments of the game. It's just knowing that after each one you've got at least another hour of inching along corridors with your heart thumping against your ribcage. In a way it'd sort of be fine if it was just boring padding like the last third of Bioshock, but throughout, Alien Isolation remains a phenomenally stressful experience. I can feel it taking years off my life. I always think it's a bit of a dick move when reviews complain about games being too long, because those reviewers usually get the game for free and have plenty of others to play. If you pay your $60 for a single player experience, I think it's fair to expect something substantial. But for a game that bangs on about closure, it's a real tease with it.
Maybe there'll be some closure for you.
Anyway, that's absolutely not a reason to avoid the game, just a reason to approach it with patience. Alien Isolation manages to blend the nervy horror of games like Outlast and Amnesia with the kind of big budget scene setting and storytelling you'd expect from a Bioshock game. And it's unswervingly faithful to the source material too, if that's something you care about, which I do. If you've got the nerve for it, Alien Isolation is essential.